ain't let nobody steal my joy. Steal my joy.
June the 16th on Father's Day. And myself, John, Dan Jr., and Vince Hafford. And we're going to do a little family history. Joe Bond had wanted me to interview my oldest brother and just get some family history. So, Bubba, if you can start from the beginning, as far as you can think back, and then see if you can bring us forward a little bit.
Well, where you want to start from? Family history. What you talking about? Auntie and uncles and all of them.
What it was like just day to day growing up. Let's start with that.
Well, day to day growing up, when you got back in my days, when you got 7, 8 years old, you was plowing a mule, and you was glad to do it. You thought you was a man then because you could get out there and plow that mule. I come home one day. I was 8 years old. I would be 8 in July, but this was June, and Dad was plowing cotton with the mule, and he asked me. He said, "Son, can you do this?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Let me see." So I got behind the mule and went way down and came back. Daddy looked at it. He said, "Can you do it again?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Let me see." I went down and come back and did it again. When I got back, Daddy said, "Boy, you done messed up." I looked around trying to see what did I do. He said, "Oh, no, I ain't talking about that here. When you ain't in school, that's what you're going to be doing." So a morning you had to get up and cut wood and make a fire, and then go hook up the mule and go to the field. And that's the way all of them did down there. They would work in they'd ply the cotton, plant the cotton, and pick the cotton and all of this, and go to the gin and gin it up, and get a little money, and sometimes they'd mess it up after working all the year. But anyway, I was raised up around
a lot of ups, huh?
Yeah, old man Johnny Bond. That's baby's granddaddy. Frank Harper, Dan Nixon, and all them people. We had when Johnny Bond Mr. Johnny built that store. That's why everybody would meet up on the weekend. Well, at night they'd be picking cotton, and when it get dark, they'd all meet up at the store, playing the jukebox, dancing. And that was back in the days. B.B. King hadn't even put out a record then, before he put out his first record. But baby's sister would have a jukebox man to put what music I would hear on the radio. He'd get the record and put it on the jukebox, and we would all play it and dance and go to church on Sundays, every Sunday. And I had a mule. If this was nothing going on at this church I want, I'd ride the mule to Prospect, Macedonia, St. Pete, Woodlawn, and Macedonia. I'd go around all them. I'd go to all them churches on the mule, and that's the way we grew up. And wasn't no TVs. You didn't have no TV to watch, but you had a radio to listen at. They had Amos and Annie on there, and then gospel. They had Sister Rosetta Thaw would have a show would come on the radio. You'd listen at that. B.B. King had a 15-minute show. You'd come on the radio and you'd listen at that. And then WDIA was a radio station where Rufus Thomas and Nat D. William and all of them guys, they had it in Memphis, Tennessee. That's a Roscoe Gordon. He would sing on there, and Muddy Water and all them guys. And we grew up listening to that music, and we'd go to church on Sunday. So after we leave church on Sunday, when we flying that mule on Monday, all we had to do it, we'd be thinking about them songs. And you working, you think you're gonna get a car at the end of the year, but most of the time you didn't get nothing at the end of the year, but enough to get you started back on the next year. And it just about like that song said, nobody fault but mine. Now it wasn't nobody's fault but ours, but we didn't know. We'd raising cotton and wasn't raising on food. So we had cotton and corn feeding the hogs before we fed ourselves. See? So that's the way it was back in them days. And then back in '55, I left and moved to Mansfield. And I got a job at one of them foundries. And it was so hard, I worked 2 days and quit. So I was coming back to Brownsville and get a mule before I was going to work in that hot foundry and couldn't breathe, inhaling dust down my lungs. But when I went back to get my check that Friday, the man told me he had talked to the personnel manager and gave me another job. So that's how I got stuck. And from there on, I was working in more hard jobs. That's all it was. And when the jobs got easy, the women got the jobs now, which we had. They turned around and made the jobs where we was making cast iron bathtubs and sinks. So now the women is making plastic bathtubs. Most of the women can do this work now because it ain't heavy.
I wanted to ask you about, you had shared a story about how babies got born. You shared a story how they explained to you about how babies got born.
Talking about the
Remember that?
midwife?
How one day Poop Oliver, he showed up and how Mom explained to it how he got here. You remember that one?
You talking about we went out there in the woods digging, trying to find a baby, is it?
That's one of them. Can you share that story?
Yeah, we was around 8 years old. Myself, Junior, Morgan, and Monroe. We done all trying to find out where our baby come from. I come home one day and Joe was in the bed with Mama, and we trying to figure out where the baby come from. They told us from old black stump out in the woods. So we got us a shovel one day, and me and Monroe and Junior, we went out in the woods. We started digging. We're gonna dig us a baby. So Miss Lemon was calling the boy, Junior! She was just hollering, Junior. So the boy acted like he didn't hear her. So we dug up a lizard, Monroe. So we getting close now because we got life here. So we kept digging. So we finally gave up. And when we came out the woods, Miss Lemon was coming at him. Boy, what are you doing? She was just hollering. She was mad. She said, what y'all been doing down there? She was doing pretty good until Junior told her we were down there trying to get a baby. And boy, when he told her we was trying to get a baby, she went crazy. She was hitting that Monroe one way and Junior was running the next way. So that's how smart we was growing up. You know, we was out there trying to get a baby up, dig a baby up out of the stone. Now, what is a story?
Well, what's your earliest memories of our father?
Daddy? Well, we was down on Bratcher. We living on Bratcher Street. I was about 3.5, 4 years old, close to 4. And I heard Daddy singing, and Cousin Jess Rawls was playing the guitar. And boy, I never heard no music before or nothing, man. I was just jumping and dancing. Well, I didn't know what dancing was at the time, but I was jumping up and down and running and bouncing, and my sisters and them trying to stop me. Cousin Joe said, "Y'all leave that boy alone. That boy dancing." I didn't know what dancing was at the time, you know. So that's when I start remembering Daddy real good, from him start singing. And then, well, from then on, it was Daddy, you know what I mean. And
right. Well, cousin Jesse, who was his
Jess
father?
Rawls.
Who was his dad?
That was Jess. Old man Jess Rawls. That was Daddy's first cousin. His daddy was named Charles Rawls.
Okay, and he played the guitar, huh?
Cousin Jess Rawls played the guitar and played the piano too.
Okay.
And he used to come down and stay with us during sorghum molasses time, they call it, when people get the molasses, sorghum out the field and put it in the mill and grind it up into juice and cook it. Cousin Jess.
All right, here we go. Okay, Vince, you had got cut off. Sharing your experiences going to Tennessee.
Yeah, I was talking about the first thing was we got there, it was so hot. I had never experienced anything like that. So when we got there, I was wanting to tell Dad, let's get back in the car and let's go back home like right now.
Put it on.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, it was hot like I've never experienced before. Even the air conditioning, we stayed at Aunt Baby's sister's house and Uncle John Frank. And they had a nice brick home at the time, and looked like the air conditioning. They had air conditioning, but looked like it was even sweating when as you would go in the garage there, it was there, and it was dripping water. It was dripping water. It looked like it was even sweating itself. So Michael and I, we decided to go to church Sunday at New Hope, and I get up and we get suited up and good to go. I put my suit on and my tie and everything. Michael and I walked down the road a little bit. I loosened my tie up. We walked down a little more. I took my suit coat off. We walked on down. I said, I just took my towel off and unbuttoned my shirt up a little bit. We kept walking down, and about that time, the church was in sight. I had took my whole dress shirt off, and I was down to my t-shirt. I asked Cousin Michael, I said, they got air conditioning in the church? He said, no. I said, well, we got to go back home, man. We can't go to church today. It's just, I couldn't take it. So, ended up, Cousin Dee Dee asked me, could I play ball? Dee Dee, that's Baby and them brother.
We know Dee Dee.
Dee Dee said, can you play ball? I said, yeah, I play a little bit. He said, well, I'll tell you what you can do. When we go up here, act like you can't play no ball. And I'm going to pick everybody, and ain't nobody going to pick you because they're going to see you can't play, and I'm going to pick you last. We're going to win all day long. So that's what I did. Got up there and I started playing ball, and I started dribbling. I was dribbling and jumping like that with the ball, like I didn't even know. I threw it, threw it like I didn't know nothing. So Dee Dee did just what he said. He picked all the best guys. The other guy choosing didn't pick me. They picked me last. I took the ball, boom, jump shot, good. And I mean, I had such a good experience down there playing ball until they didn't even want me to leave. A lot of the guys wanted me to stay there and go to Carver High. To make me think of the high school there back in
Carver High School.
The Carver High School, yeah. But anyway, it was really a good experience, and I enjoyed myself in Brownsville and enjoyed my cousins. I call myself being fast, but one thing about it I'll never forget, I could not run none of them boys down there. Baby could fly, had some Turner boys, could run. I mean, these boys could run. And I could really run. I could pick it up and move out, you know. But I was younger than them. I was born in 1956. But I was used to winning most of all of my races. But when I went down there, I could not run none of them boys, including Baby. And I remember back then, Baby was a running back. And so my experience with Brownsville, Tennessee was really, really a nice one. I planned on going with Michael. Me and Michael, we had a ball. And we did some things that I wouldn't want to tell you because it was really kids things that you wouldn't want just anybody to know about. But I really enjoyed staying with Aunt Baby's sister, and then we went over and seen Aunt Laverne and had another cousin named Michael, who was a good-hearted. He was about my age. I think Michael, he ended up passing away. But anyway, Aunt Laverne, she had a bunch of children, and we all got along really, really good. And my experience of Tennessee, except the hotness, it was really, really good. And I'll never forget it as long as I live.
Yeah, I had a couple questions for you, Bubba, concerning our grandmother, Ella.
Mm-hmm.
So I was looking through the records.
Ella Rawls or Ella Taylor?
Ella Rawls.
Mm-hmm.
Did she marry a joiner?
Ella Rawls married Dan Hafford.
She married Dan Hafford?
She ended up marrying Abrahart.
Right.
They had a picture together, and Aunt Willie Mae told me where it was. And when Aunt Willie Mae passed away, whoever went in their house and got all the pictures, I don't know. But I had all them pictures. Aunt Willie Mae had all them pictures. But now, she had married Abrahart. Now, Abrahart, Baby Ray, got a baby, had a baby boy by one of them Abrahart girls. I don't think they have him own Baby Ray and nothing. But he should be about, this was back in the 50s, and Baby Ray had his picture. He was a little baby, so he was born in the early 50s. So you could count up to now, you know, what age he would be. He'd probably be about 60, something like that now, in his 60s. But he's a Hafford going in the name of an Abrahart. And his mother, I think, don't want him to own him because Baby Ray got in trouble all the time. But by disowning his daddy, she got him disowning the rest of the family too. You know, the rest of the Hafford family too.
Right.
But that's the way women is. They have a baby. It's all of theirs, but if you have one, they call yours an outsider and teach him like you ain't nothing. You know, like the daddy ain't nothing. Daddy ain't nothing. But there's something.
Now, what was the child's name? You think
he was an Abrahart.
What his first name? You don't know.
I forgot his name, but Baby Ray had it.
The mother's name was what?
I don't know. She wasn't an Abrahart. She live in Cleveland, Ohio now. I'd have to get his name from Crate Bond.
See if you can get a name for him.
Yeah.
Maybe we can find him.
Yeah.
Cause there's a Ella Rawls that married a joiner, and it seemed like Joe said that the family reunion, the joiners was gonna be a part of the family reunion.
No, Ella Rawls, the joiners ain't got nothing to do with it. Ella Rawls married a Abrahart. The joiners, how the joiners come in, Aunt Dump told me. The joiners wasn't no relation, but old man Dan Rawls, half brother, which was white, pushed Dan Rawls in the fireplace and burned him back of the head, back of his neck, and burned him real bad. And this lady, who you talking about now, what you call him?
Ella Rawls?
No, the joiners lady, which was Joe Hafford, older sister, if I ain't mistaken. She wasn't a Hafford, but she was a joiner, see. But her brother was Joe Hafford, them, the way I get it. She doctored on him, nursed him, and they said from then on, the joiners would always be part of the family, you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. So that's how the joiners come in. the way Aunt Dump told me. And then you never know about the cousin neither.
Now Aunt Dump, what's her real
Oh,
name?
Flossie Robinson.
That's Flossie.
That's Daddy's baby sister. Aunt Dump. But she looked at like her and Daddy could have been whole brothers,
She
but they
sure
said they
did.
said
She
they
sure
was
did.
half brothers and sisters, you know.
Right.
But they looked so much alike until I believe Grandpa came back in on a weekend pass.
Amen. Amen. You look just like that picture of Granddaddy
Yeah,
right
she-
there.
Yeah, I
She
believe
sure did.
Grandpa William came back in on a weekend pass.
We went to Flint to see her, Flint, Michigan.
Yeah,
And that is the truth.
she looked just like Daddy, looked like twin.
Amen.
So I don't see how she could look like Daddy, like without being his whole sister. Look more like Daddy than any of the sisters.
I met with when I talked with Aunt Flossie's daughter, she was saying that that Aunt Flossie's dad was a Williams. She was telling me that story.
Well, I heard it was a Taylor, so I done heard all kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Ain't
Tommy
Dump told me
Taylor.
her daddy was named Phil Taylor, if I ain't mistaken, Phil Taylor.
That would have been
Right.
Tommy
Yeah.
Lee, my running Tommy Jet, who ran track with me. That would have been his daddy's sister, if that was the case.
Yeah,
But it's just like what Dad said. Ain't
They come
Dump.
from Tennessee?
yeah,
Yeah.
Tom Lee come
Tommy
from
Lee,
Tennessee?
yeah.
yeah, mother and them,
Yeah,
daddy and them.
yeah.
I didn't
From
know that.
Brownsville, yeah.
I didn't know that.
But you tell you when he named Tommy Bond until he changed it to Tommy Taylor. But because I got a chance to meet his dad, which was like I say supposedly Aunt Dump's brother. But what Dad just said about Aunt Dump looking like Granddaddy, she looked too much like Granddaddy for them not to be, to me, whole brothers and sisters.
Yeah, that I never seen a picture of my life of Grandma Ella. No picture, nothing of her. I ain't never knowed how she look or nothing. Connie Earl said, it looked like Nat. Said Nat looked like her. That's what Connie Earl Rawls said. But I never seen a picture of her. I hated that too. I still hate it. I wish I could see a picture, but no picture.
Now I think you had said something about B. Hafford. Who was B. Hafford?
That's Aunt Fanny's. Aunt Fanny had two boys. That's Daddy's sister. She's next to the oldest. Aunt Fanny had two boys. One was named, they called him B, and they called her and Bubba. So B. Hafford and Bubba Hafford. That's what their nicknames like, you know.
Right.
But really his name was, one was named Emmett Kerr, and one was named Jesse Kerr. B. Hafford was named Jesse Kerr. Bubba Hafford was named Emmett Kerr. And they live out there. He was last I talked with him, he was in Seattle, Washington. And they tell me he got a bunch of children who live out there in Seattle, Washington too. But I never been able to get in touch with him. I lost the phone number like a fool. You know, I could have been still talking with Bubba. But that was years ago. I think Bubba, I know Bubba gone now because he's an older mama.
Because in the census, it's a B. Hafford and like a Rebecca.
Rebecca, that was his wife, Rebecca Hafford.
So that was them in the census.
B and Beck, yeah.
Right.
B and Beck, B Hafford and Beck, yeah, that was them in the
And
census.
B. Hafford again was, what's his real name?
Aunt Fanny's. His name was Jesse Kerr.
His real name was Jesse Curry.
Yeah.
But he went by B. Hafford.
Yeah, that's what they all, because Aunt Fanny, they went in, you know, called him Hafford. They just didn't call him by his real name, Bubba Hafford and B. Hafford. And that was one guy, cousin, he went by Son Hafford. He wasn't a Hafford, but they called him Son Hafford.
He stayed here a while.
No, he
stay
yeah, he
here?
did. He died here, sure did. I didn't realize who he was until he had passed, but he passed away when I got to Mansfield here. But Daddy used to go down there.
He wasn't related to the family?
Yeah, he was related to his family. He was one of the aunties, one of the girls, like one of Aunt Mary's Rawls' son. She was one of the Rawls lady's son, but they called him, they just gave him that name,
Son Hafford.
Son Hafford, yeah. Like Aunt Willie Mae, she used to, one ain't Daddy's sister. I was watching, I was about 4 years old then, watching Buddy Rawls, Cousin Buddy get married. He's marrying his wife, Willie Bell Rawls. Her name was Willie Bell Lee at the time. So we was looking out the window, and over, like, you know, looking through the window over next door, and we seen the preachers and all of them in there. And I heard Daddy, Mama asked Daddy, said, "Is they married yet?" Daddy said, "No, they ain't married yet." Mama said, How you know when they get married?" Daddy said, "Well, just hold on. When they kiss, then they'll be married." So I took it from there. If you kiss, you married. So when I know anything, Aunt Willie may come up behind me and she'd kiss me and holler, "But I done married you." Boy, I'd take off running and hollering and crying. One time I got there, Mama, I couldn't even tell Mama what was wrong. I done ran so far and crying. Mama said, "What's wrong with you?" I said, "Hey, Willie, man, she married me." Mama said, "Well, let me unmarry you." Mama kissed me. The minute she kissed me, I stopped crying then. Wasn't no more crying. But Aunt Willie she'd do me like that, boy, I'm telling you. And Aunt Fanny, she had me going around singing when I was 3 or 4 years old, singing Dry Bone. And I'd sing them songs and make me a penny, 2 or 3 pennies. And the big boys, they got where they would beat me out of all my dimes and quarters and stuff, because they'd give me a handful of pennies, and man, I'm gone. So that's how the older boys teach you, you know, they teach you out your stuff when you're young, so you learn from that. Yeah.
Right.
But like I said, down on the farm now, it was ups. You got to get up in the morning, go out to the barn, feed the mules up, go to the wood pile, cut the wood up, take it back in the house and make the fire up. Mama take and cook the bread up. We sit down at the table and eat the food up, go back to the field and hook the mules up, go to and ply the cotton grass up, go back and chop the cotton up, and pick the cotton and sell it. That was what you did that year. And Dad and them and all the rest of them, they knowed how to get you going. In the spring of the year, Daddy asked me, "What you doing, son?" I said, "Nothing." "Come on, let's go down here and walk across the field." So I'd be proud, I'd be glad to walk with my daddy across the field. We walking down there looking, Daddy stop and put his hand on his hip and lean over and said, "Now, if this ground do like I think here, I know something when fall come." I said, what's that?" "Shit, a car." I said, "A used car?" Daddy spit at the back. "No, a brand new car." And man, that mule was gonna catch the devil that year. I'm flying that mule, thinking I'm gonna get a car. I plowed and plowed and plowed. So and I'd be praying too. So I got tired of praying. I told these boys, I said, "Listen, boys, I ain't praying no more." I said, "I done flying that mule and praying, and I ain't got nothing, no car, nothing." I told the boy, I said, "It ain't no God." Junior Morgan looked up in the air with them big eyes and he said, "There's something up there." So on my way home, I happened to walk out on there. I was telling Poop to get the reins off over the mule so I could drive him through the pond and let him drink water. So Poop couldn't reach it. And I was doing what Daddy told me don't do. I was cussing him. So I walked out between the mules, and when I walked out to the mules to reach up to get the reins off over the collar, this mule, old Bob, jumped to the right. When he jumped to the right, I fell down to the left. And old Henry was dancing all over me. I could see him in the middle of the chest. His feet were just coming in my face, just like that. So old Henry,
up under the mule.
Yeah, I'm on the on the wagon, under the wagon. Yeah, the mule dancing all over me. So old Henry went to the left, and so I still wasn't safe, because I know old Bob had to come across. And boy, them mules had went crazy too. They were jumping and bucking and pawing and honking and going on. So Bob, I said, "Lord, that Bob got to come across me. I'm praying, Lord, don't have." I'm praying now. I done told the boy it wasn't no God, see me.
Right.
So I'm praying now. It looked like I could reach and get the stars with my hand, boy. I was looking dead up in the air. Down south, you know, some days you can look up there and you can see the stars real good. So I'm looking up at them stars and thinking about everything I done said. In a little or no time, like my mind it. That's how my mind going. So now here come old Bob. I'm looking dead I'm in the mule chest. Them feet was coming down, right down side my face, right side my face. So finally, old Henry bucked over to the left and pulled old Bob off me. So boy, that old Bob done got off me. Lord, I'm feeling good now. Look, here come the wagon wheel, getting ready to run over my leg. Man, I wasn't thinking about that leg. I'm happy just to get a broken leg. And that front wheel hit the post and slid that wagon wheel right around my leg. Didn't touch me nowhere. And everything I would do that Daddy tell me don't do, I would have to pay for it and pay for it good.
Can't let nobody steal my joy. Steal my joy.